Hello everyone. It's Julie Grint here, and I'm really glad you could make it today to this emotional deconstruction process, is what I love to call it. And I'm really excited to share this technique with you to really help you to move yourself from a place of stress into success. And what you're going to gain from today is how to identify what it is that's really keeping you stuck or stressed, so that you've got more awareness. And when you've got more awareness, this is going to be the secret sauce. It's going to help you move from victim to empowered, so that you can take empowered action. And you can use this tool in everything that you do moving forward, so that you can stay aligned to success. And that's success in every area of your life. So why is this important to me? Well, I love to help women consciously love themselves by helping them to get in tune with their bodies, so they can learn to harness the power of their intuition and make healthier choices that embody self-love. When they're in that place, that gives them the confidence to really express themselves, really express their beauty and their unique gifts, and be the radiant role models that they're destined to be. So I wanted to share this technique with you today. It's something that's really useful, really helpful, that's going to get you out of stress and into more success. And who doesn't want that? And by success, I'm referring to self-love success. Because the truth is, when we're creating stress in our lives, we're not loving ourselves. Okay, and it's your lack of self-love that's actually creating stress in your life. I'll say that again. It's your lack of self-love that is creating the stress in your life. That can be a hard pill to swallow, I know. But if you want to love yourself, you've got to swallow it. Because self-love isn't all rainbows and unicorns, you know. And my objective here today is to invite you to start loving yourselves fiercely, the way that you deserve to be loved. And that means taking ownership of yourself and your life. Now, if I'm proposing that you believe that all the stress in your life is created by you, because you don't love yourself, then this might trigger you. It might not align with the beliefs that you hold. And this may already have stirred up some thoughts and feelings. Your head might be saying, it's not my fault that this thing happened to me, or it's not my fault that so-and-so did that to me. There's lots of reasons why things are not our fault. And I get that often there are times in life where things are happening that are not in our control. But if we choose to believe that we're not in control, then we're choosing to disempower ourselves. And in choosing to disempower ourselves, we're keeping ourselves stuck. We're keeping ourselves holding ourselves as a victim, basically keeping ourselves stuck in the stress response. And it's not intentional. There's no blame or shame here, but it is happening, and we need to shine light on this. And no matter how much you try and talk yourself out of it subconsciously, you're still giving your power away to the belief that you're not responsible for you. And ultimately, that equates to you are powerless. Now, this might all sound a little extreme, so I'm going to break it down into everyday stuff in just a moment. But please be aware that you think over 60,000 thoughts in one day. 60,000. And out of those thoughts that you think in one day, 90% of them are the same thoughts as the thoughts that you had the day before, right? It's mind-blowing. And if you think over 60,000 thoughts a day is a lot, then get your head around this. According to Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I absolutely adore, our brain processes 400 billion bits of information per second, and we're only aware of 2,000 of them. So we're only aware of 2,000 bits out of 400 billion. But even then, how can we possibly manage to hold those 2,000 pieces? So not only are you having all of these thoughts, you're not even consciously aware of them. And what happens is your subconscious is doing all of the work for you without you having to think about it. Your subconscious is filtering out all of those thoughts. And it's deciding where you're placing your power. And if you're placing your power in repeating the same thoughts that keep you from taking responsibility for yourself, that keep you in the stress response, then you'll continue to keep having the same experiences and struggles in your life. And is that self-love? So how might this be showing up for you? Maybe you're spending more time with your face in the fridge more often than you're actually completing the tasks you're supposed to be doing. I can so relate to this one, so don't worry, you're not alone. It's avoidance, it's procrastination, and it's stressful. And we may find moments where we get to a place of acceptance and we can move forward a little bit. But then we find that that pattern just keeps repeating, or that workload just keeps piling up, and it takes us longer to move through the situation. You keep coming back to it. You never seem to be able to resolve it because we're kind of keeping ourselves in a place of acceptance. Now, acceptance is good. We need to get to a place of acceptance. It's the first step in attaining your self-love success, but it doesn't get you all the way there. You see, you might accept the situation and you might even make a choice to stop eating the cakes and the crisps and make yourself a healthy shake instead. But is that even solving the problem? Acceptance isn't enough. And acceptance can actually keep us stuck. It makes our limiting beliefs okay, and it doesn't create space for anything new. The missing piece in all of this is ownership. Now, this is the tough love bit, the self-responsibility bit. This is the emotional empowerment piece. And it's ownership that is the secret to your success. And the only way to take ownership is to step outside of the stress and face yourself fully. We literally have to have a breakdown. Not in the fall apart sense, okay? But we have to break down the cycle of stress so that we can identify what it is that we're actually doing so that we can do something else instead. So let's have a breakdown together. I want you to grab a piece of paper and I want you to write down in brief what your current stress is that's keeping you stuck. What's this problem that you've got a conflict inside of you over? And if there's nothing right now that you can think of, Perhaps there's something in the past where you had an experience and you didn't get the result that you wanted. So you have a problem. In order to work with this, we kind of need to have a problem. And don't worry if a problem doesn't come up right now. You can take note of this and you can spend more time with it later. But if you do have a problem, please write it down. Please work with me through this because this will help shift you massively. Now, this problem, without thinking too much into it, write down the thoughts that you're having about it. Just the thoughts, not the feelings or anything else. Just what are the thoughts around this problem? What are you thinking? What are you saying to yourself? What are the words? Just take a moment to write down all the thoughts you're having about that problem. Now, the next step is to write down the feelings that go with that. So what are all the feelings? What are all the emotions that are connected to that problem? And write those down. Without judgment, just write them down. Be totally honest. No one is judging you. Now, it might look or sound something like this. So the problem could be stuck in a cycle of procrastination, eating instead of working, so avoiding doing the work, not getting any work done and eating instead. So that's the problem. And let's say that's me. All right, I'm stuck in a cycle of procrastination. I'm not getting any work done and I'm eating instead. So the thoughts that I'm thinking are, if I eat this, I'll feel good, then I'll be more motivated to do the work. I'll enjoy it more. Or if I eat this now, then I can just get that out of the way so I'll have more time. I'm thinking, this is hard work. If I treat myself a little, I'll feel better. I really don't want to do this. I can't do it. Oh, just eat and take the pain away. And now I'm thinking, I'm such a time waster. I'm a failure. And the feelings that go along with that are, I feel stressed. I feel anxious. I feel sick, miserable. I'm unfocused. So you've got a good picture of what's going on. And by the way, if you want to pause this, if you're catching the replay, to give yourself time to work through each step, then please do. So now you've got the problem and you've got the thoughts and you've got the feelings that go along with that problem. What I want you to do is ask yourself and write down, what does this mean about me? What does having this problem, having these thoughts about it, and having these feelings around it mean about you? Then I want you to ask, what does this mean about others? So what are you making it mean? What are you making it mean about you? That you've got this problem and you're feeling this way and thinking this way? And then what does this mean about others? What are you making it mean about other people? And the next question, don't worry, I'm going to go over this with you in just a second. The next question is, well, If I am X because I'm making it mean X about me, and others are Y because I'm making it mean Y about others, then what is the world? What are you actually making this mean about the world? Now, this might look or sound something like this, just to give you an example. So if I'm thinking that I need to eat food in order to work hard and feel good, and I'm feeling stressed and anxious, and I'm telling myself I can't do it and that I'm a failure, what that means about me is that I'm just not capable, and that equates to I'm not good enough. And what that means about others is, well, they're more capable than me. They're better than me. They're destined for success and I'm not. So what does that mean about the world? Well, if I'm not good enough and others are better than me, then what I'm making it mean about the world is that it's pointless me trying to show up in the world because others are better than me and more successful than me. And that's the bottom line. If I'm not good enough and others are better than me, then it's pointless me trying to show up because others are more successful than me. Now, yours might be something a little bit different, but there'll be a meaning in there that you've made about this. Okay? So work through it. Now, what we need to do is look at how you're actually resolving this problem, because you are resolving it, not in a way that's actually doing you much good, mind, but you are resolving it. This is how you cope. Because there's discomfort. We don't want to feel discomfort. We want to take the discomfort away. And it's in this taking away of the discomfort, in the coping, that we place all of our energy and our attention. This is where we put our power. So in this instance, where I'm putting my power is in eating and not actually doing the work. That's how I'm coping. I'm coping by eating. Okay. So now we need to look at that coping mechanism. We need to look at where we're placing our power, and we need to ask ourselves, what is this actually resulting in? Well, this whole process of me wanting to do the work but actually eating, and me dealing with it by eating and not doing the work, is actually resulting in me being very stuck. So what is the end result? The end result is that I'm stuck. And if we kind of go back to the beginning, this is the problem that I was facing. So what I've done is I've recreated more of the same problem. So then we have to look at this and go, right, okay, well, who created this? And this is where we have to step into ownership and say, I did. Because you did. You created this. You didn't want this, but the results that you've created are the same as the problem that you started with. You're creating the problem. When we're not taking responsibility for ourselves, when we're not fully loving ourselves, we're literally recreating stress in our lives because we're falling unconscious and we're allowing these cycles to repeat. When we can actually take a step back and realize how powerful we actually are, we're really powerful manifestors. to be able to create all of this stress, right? When we realize that and take ownership of that, all of that power that you've put into creating more of the same problem, you can say, well, what if I put my power into creating what I want instead? And this is ownership. This is the bridge to self-love empowerment. This is where we get to step outside of ourselves and see what we are creating. Because once we're outside of it, we can then literally pick it up and move it. We can acknowledge our strength and our power. We can have a laugh at ourselves. You know, we're a train wreck. We're creating all this stress. Okay, well, I can see that now. Is this what I want? No. So then we can make choices to support ourselves instead, because we're no longer in this funk. We can then reach outside and get the help and support that we need. And we can start directing our energy to where we really want it to go. And that's the secret. That's how we move from this place of acceptance and actually get to create the change that we want. Now, it's going to take practice. It's going to take practice. We have to face ourselves. We have to get uncomfortable or comfortable even with the discomfort, because if we don't face it, if we don't feel it, we're never going to be able to utilize that power and move through it. I hope that you find this useful. Now, this process is something that you can apply to everything that you do. Not just things that have happened, but things that potentially can happen. You know, it's a wonderful way to anticipate future problems or challenges. I much rather call them challenges. So if you've got something coming up, then challenge yourself to look at where you might get in your own way and work through this process. Because the more you do this, the less you're going to be in your own way, the less stress you're going to have. And this is what we want, because without that stress, we can operate from a place that's more loving. We can feel empowered and we can create the things that we do want in our lives instead of keep recreating the same stuff that we don't want. So I really hope now that moving forward, you'll be able to step into your self-love power and create a ripple of self-love around the world. Do let me know, reach out to me at info@juliegrint.com if you have any questions. And it's been great having you here. Much love.